On May 17th, the children stepped into a peculiar, low-hanging fog that local rangers noted was unnaturally dense and cold, and simply disappeared. For 3 agonizing days, South Korea held its breath. The disappearance dominated national news with continuous television coverage and newspaper updates. Psychics claim the children were trapped between worlds, while scientists speculated about sudden landslides or hidden caves. Then, on the morning of May 20th, as search teams prepared for another hopeless day, the children emerged. They walked out of the exact same fog bank they'd entered, physically unharmed, but fundamentally altered. Their school uniforms were impeccably clean, their hair neatly combed. Impossible conditions for anyone surviving 3 days in the wilderness. But their eyes told a different story. Vacant, depthless pools that showed no recognition of their frantic parents or the media circus surrounding them. The mountain had returned their bodies, but something essential had been left behind in that fog. During medical examinations, doctors discovered the first physical evidence of something extraordinary. Each child had an identical tattoo on their left wrist, a complex design of a 3-legged bird encircled by 9 stars. The symbol was immediately recognized by historians as the Chunsi, or heavenly crow, a mythical creature from the ancient Goguryeo kingdom that vanished from Korean culture over a millennium ago. The tattoos weren't ordinary ink. The children's first words confirmed they were no longer the same individuals. They spoke exclusively in a dead language, Old Korean from the Silla Kingdom period, which hasn't been spoken for over 1,000 years. Linguists from Seoul National University confirmed the authenticity, noting perfect grammar and vocabulary that even experts struggle to reconstruct. The children didn't just know the language, they thought in it, dreamed in it, and expressed confusion when hearing modern Korean. When shown photographs of their families, they used ancient kinship terms that modern Koreans wouldn't recognize. It was as if 5 20th-century children had become living vessels for knowledge that should have died with civilizations. Dusted by history's passage, the children demonstrated knowledge that defied explanation. They could identify archaeological artifacts from Korea's 3 Kingdoms period with museum curator accuracy, describe historical events with eyewitness detail, and solve mathematical problems using ancient calculation methods. Most remarkably, they began predicting events accurately, forecasting a minor earthquake, a political scandal, and even the exact date a missing hiker would be found alive. Their predictions weren't guesses. They were stated with absolute certainty, as if reading from a script of future events. Psychologists theorized they were accessing some form of collective consciousness or temporal awareness that normal humans cannot perceive, seeing time not as a linear progression, but as a landscape where past, present, and future coexist simultaneously. The Korean government classified the case as a national-level phenomenon, A secret research facility was established at Yonsei University, where the children underwent extensive testing. Neurological scans revealed their brains had been fundamentally rewired, showing neural connections unlike any documented in medical literature. Most remarkably, their brainwaves synchronized perfectly with each other, even when separated by soundproof walls, suggesting they'd developed a form of collective consciousness. The children's memories of their missing 3 days were inaccessible to conventional hypnosis or questioning, but when placed under advanced neuroimaging, they all showed identical activity patterns in their hippocampus, as if sharing the exact same implanted memories of their experience, locked behind a cognitive barrier they couldn't verbally describe. Historians discovered terrifying parallels in obscure Korean myths. The Samjoko, or three-legged crow, appears in the foundation myth of the Goguryeo kingdom, where it served as a messenger between gods and humans. According to legends, the crow would occasionally select children as vessels to deliver prophecies during times of great change. The 9 stars surrounding the tattoo matched the Chenbugyeong star formation, which ancient astronomers believed was a gateway to other realms. Most chillingly, the Bisonde rock, where the children disappeared, translates to Flying Fairy Platform, a place where, according to folklore, enlightened beings could ascend to heaven or descend to earth. The legend suggested this wasn't the first such occurrence, merely the first one documented with modern scientific methods. Researchers uncovered historical records of similar incidents throughout Korean history. In 1632, 3 children vanished near Gyeongju and returned speaking the language of heaven. In 1897, during the Joseon dynasty, 2 brothers disappeared for a week and returned with knowledge of future events, accurately predicting the Japanese occupation. The pattern was always the same: children aged 12 to 15, mountainous regions. 3-day disappearances and returns with ancient knowledge. Each case occurred during periods of significant national transition, as if some protective intelligence was intervening at pivotal historical moments. The 1991 case was unique only in its documentation. Previous incidents were dismissed as folklore or covered up by authorities who feared the implications of such phenomena. For the families, the return was a different kind of loss. The children looked identical but behaved like strangers. They showed no emotional connection to their parents, referring to them with formal ancient terms rather than mother or father. They would gather at night, speaking in their strange language, sometimes drawing complex astronomical charts that matched no known celestial patterns. One mother described finding her son staring at the moon for hours, his tattoo glowing faintly. "It's like they left their humanity in that mountain," she told reporters, "and something else came back wearing their skin." The psychological toll devastated the families. They had their children's bodies back, but the souls they loved were gone, replaced by ancient, knowing entities that regarded them with polite detachment. By 1992, the South Korean government had sealed all records and silenced the families with strict non-disclosure agreements. Official statements claimed the children had suffered collective psychological trauma and were receiving treatment. The research team was disbanded, and the case was buried in bureaucratic oblivion. But internal documents, leaked decades later, revealed the truth authorities feared: the implications of verified supernatural intervention in human affairs. The children represented something science couldn't explain and religion couldn't contain: evidence that human history might be periodically guided or altered by forces beyond our understanding. The cover-up wasn't about hiding aliens or ghosts, but about concealing that humanity might not be the primary consciousness on this planet, and that our development might be periodically corrected by whatever took those children. As the children grew into adulthood, their differences became more pronounced. They excelled academically, but showed no interest in normal relationships or careers. All five chose fields related to physics, astronomy, or history, as if compelled to understand whatever had happened to them. They maintained their connection, often meeting secretly and communicating in their ancient language. They continued making accurate predictions, warning about the 1997 Asian financial crisis, the 2003 Daegu subway fire, and even the precise date of North Korea's first nuclear test. Their knowledge seemed to be updating in real time, as if they remained connected to whatever intelligence had modified them in those mountains. On exactly the 20th anniversary of their first disappearance, May 17th, 2011, all five adults returned to Soroksan National Park. Security cameras showed them entering the same fog bank at Bisonday Rock. This time, they never emerged. The official investigation concluded they'd likely committed collective suicide, but the evidence suggested otherwise. Their homes were found filled with advanced mathematical equations and star charts pointing to a specific date in 2025. Most chillingly, each had left behind a single page with the same message written in ancient Korean: "We go to prepare the way. The gate opens when the crow's shadow falls on the ninth star." The message was dated the day after their disappearance, suggesting they knew they wouldn't be returning. In 2018, a team of international researchers obtained permission to investigate the Soroksan site with advanced technology. Their findings revealed anomalies that defied conventional physics. LiDAR scans detected a permanent spatial distortion at the exact location where the children vanished. A bubble of altered reality approximately 15 meters in diameter, where light bends at impossible angles. Thermal imaging showed the area maintains a constant temperature of exactly 17.3 degrees Celsius, regardless of weather conditions. Most remarkably, quantum sensors detected chronoton particles, theoretical elements that shouldn't exist in nature, suggesting the site exists partially outside our normal flow of time. The researchers concluded they weren't studying a location, but a permanent wound in reality itself, a place where the barrier between our world and whatever lies beyond has been permanently weakened. Soil and rock samples from the disappearance site contained physical impossibilities. Crystalline structures showed atomic arrangements that violate known laws of chemistry, maintaining stability through quantum entanglement with unknown energy sources. Plant life within the anomaly zone exhibited DNA sequences not found anywhere else on Earth, suggesting they were either from another timeline or engineered by intelligence beyond human comprehension. Most disturbingly, audio recordings captured at the site contained what researchers called temporal echoes, faint voices speaking in the same ancient Korean the children used, but discussing events from both the distant past and future, as if they were current occurrences. The site wasn't just haunted, it was somehow connected to all moments in time, simultaneously. The Korean case isn't unique. Since 2015, researchers have identified 17 similar sites worldwide, from the Bermuda Triangle to the Bennington Triangle in Vermont. Each location shows identical environmental anomalies, the same temperature consistency, similar quantum signatures, and historical records of mysterious disappearances, followed by returns with altered abilities. The common factor is always children or young adolescents, and the returned individuals always demonstrate knowledge or abilities that shouldn't be possible. This suggests we're not dealing with random paranormal events, but with a systematic, planet-wide phenomenon that has been occurring for centuries, possibly millennia, with each incident fine-tuning human development at crucial historical junctures. The leading theory among researchers is what they call planetary consciousness intervention. This proposes that Earth itself, or some intelligence associated with it, periodically intervenes in human development to prevent catastrophic paths. The children aren't abducted by aliens, but are temporarily uploaded into this planetary consciousness, then returned with specific knowledge or abilities needed to steer humanity away from disaster. The 1991 Korean children emerged just before the Asian financial crisis and the rise of global terrorism. Their knowledge may have helped South Korea navigate these challenges. This theory suggests that what we call history isn't a random sequence of events, but a carefully guided process, with these disappearances serving as course corrections whenever humanity veers too close to self-destruction. The children's final message pointed to 2025 as a pivotal year. Astronomical analysis reveals that on September 17th, 2025, a rare celestial event will occur. The crow's shadow they mentioned corresponds to a total solar eclipse, whose path will directly align with the Sorexon site, while the ninth star refers to Pluto's position in a specific constellation not seen since the Goguryeo kingdom's founding. Researchers believe this alignment might reopen whatever gateway the children used, potentially allowing either their return or the emergence of new, adjusted individuals. Governments worldwide are quietly preparing, though for what exactly, nobody knows. The children either went to prevent something catastrophic in 2025 or to help implement a change humanity isn't yet ready to understand. As 2025 approaches, scientists face an impossible ethical choice. Should they attempt to make contact with whatever intelligence lies behind these phenomena, potentially gaining unimaginable knowledge? Or should they reinforce the quarantine around these sites, fearing that full contact might overwhelm human civilization? Some argue that refusing contact is like a child refusing education. We're turning away from our next evolutionary step. Others warn that some knowledge is too dangerous for mortal minds, citing the children's vacant eyes as proof that direct contact with cosmic consciousness comes at the cost of human essence. The debate echoes theological arguments about humans eating from the tree of knowledge, except this time the tree is offering itself to us, and we must decide whether to accept the fruit. The quantum consciousness hypothesis offers the most compelling explanation. It suggests that human awareness isn't confined to our brains, but exists as a quantum field entangled with the universe itself. Under specific conditions, like those at the Sorexon site, certain individuals can temporarily merge with this cosmic consciousness, accessing knowledge across time and space. The children didn't encounter aliens or gods. They briefly became one with the universe's fundamental awareness. Their tattoos might function as quantum anchors, maintaining a faint connection to this expanded state. This theory explains their knowledge, predictions, and the permanent alteration of their perception. If correct, it means that enlightenment isn't a spiritual metaphor, but a measurable physical state, a temporary unification with the mind of the cosmos itself, available to anyone under the right conditions, though the return journey often comes at the cost of one's original personality. Advanced analysis of the children's medical records revealed their brains had been completely rewired. Where normal humans use approximately 10% of their neural capacity in conscious thought, the children were utilizing nearly 47%, with connections forming between brain regions that typically remain separate. Their default mode network, the brain's sense of self, had been largely dismantled, replaced by a distributed awareness that made little distinction between their individual identities and the world around them. This explains their emotional detachment and universal knowledge. They weren't 5 separate beings anymore, but 5 nodes in a single expanded consciousness. The rewriting was so comprehensive that neurologists compared it to installing a new operating system on a computer while keeping the original hardware. The machine still functions, but in ways its designers never intended. Researchers discovered that the children's predictions followed an ancient celestial calendar found in Goguryeo tomb paintings. The calendar doesn't track years, but consciousness cycles, periods when cosmic conditions allow for easier access to expanded awareness. The 2025 alignment represents the completion of a 1,344-year cycle that began with the fall of the Silla kingdom. According to the paintings, each cycle's end brings the great choice. Humanity either evolves to a higher state of consciousness or faces catastrophic reset. The children's disappearance in 1991 placed them at the exact midpoint of this final century, suggesting they were prepared as guides for whatever transition 2025 will bring. Their knowledge wasn't random. It was specifically curated to help humanity navigate this upcoming threshold. World governments aren't just observing. They're actively preparing. Classified programs across multiple nations are monitoring the 2025 alignment, with space agencies tracking the specific celestial configurations the children described. Psychological profiles of potential candidates, children matching the original group's characteristics, are being compiled in secret databases. Emergency protocols have been established for mass consciousness events, though what form such events might take remains unknown. The preparations reveal a terrifying truth. Authorities take the children's predictions seriously enough to spend billions on readiness, yet publicly maintain the fiction that these phenomena are unverified legends. We're approaching what might be the most significant moment in human history, and almost nobody outside classified circles knows it's coming. For the families, the approaching 2025 date brings both hope and terror. Some parents pray for their children's return, while others fear what might emerge if the gateway reopens. Mrs. Lee, mother of one of the vanished, visits Soroksan monthly. "I don't know if I'm waiting for my son or for some angel wearing his face," she confesses. The not knowing is a different kind of loss, one that never ends. The families have formed a support network, sharing their unique grief with others who understand that their children were taken by something beyond comprehension. Their experience suggests that contact with higher consciousness, if it exists, comes at a terrible human cost, the sacrifice of ordinary happiness for knowledge most minds cannot bear. Since the Korean case became known to researchers, 23 similar individuals have been identified worldwide. People who experienced mysterious disappearances and returned with enhanced abilities. A woman in Norway can accurately predict volcanic eruptions weeks in advance. A man in Brazil diagnoses diseases with perfect accuracy despite no medical training. All share common traits: memory gaps of their disappearance period, unusual tattoos or birthmarks, and knowledge they shouldn't possess. When brought together, they demonstrate synchronized thinking and sometimes finish each other's sentences in dead languages. They describe their condition not as a blessing, but as a burden. Being aware of realities most cannot perceive is isolating. They await 2025 with a mixture of dread and expectation, knowing it represents either their liberation or their destruction. As this documentary releases, the countdown to September 17th, 2025 has already begun. Research teams are stationed at key sites worldwide, monitoring for any changes. The returned individuals report increasingly vivid dreams of a gathering and have begun unconsciously drawing the same symbols the Korean children described. Astronomical observations confirm the alignment will be the most precise in over 3,000 years. Whatever happens, the evidence suggests this won't be a subtle event. The children's descriptions imply a fundamental shift in how consciousness operates on Earth. The great mystery isn't whether something will happen, but whether humanity is prepared to evolve into whatever comes next, or if we'll cling to our limited perception until the choice is made for us. Before their final disappearance, the children left one last message hidden in a school textbook. Translated, it reads, "The gate does not discriminate. All may enter, but not all may return. Prepare your minds, not your weapons. The choice is individual, but the consequence is universal." This suggests the 2025 event won't be a physical invasion, but a psychological threshold, an opportunity for conscious evolution available to anyone, but requiring mental preparation most humans haven't undertaken. The children became what we might all become if we surrender our limited individual consciousness to the cosmic awareness that permeates the universe. Their story isn't just a mystery, it's an invitation to transcend our biological limitations and remember what we truly are. A children's experience forces us to confront the ultimate question. What is humanity's true potential? Are we merely intelligent animals? Or are we embryonic cosmic beings, slowly awakening to our true nature? The children crossed a threshold most don't even know exists, returning with abilities that seem miraculous to our limited perception. Today, the Soroksan site remains under 24/7 surveillance by both scientific teams and spiritual pilgrims who believe it's a sacred location. The Korean government maintains an official position of studying rare meteorological phenomena, while secretly collaborating with international agencies preparing for 2025. The families of the vanished continue their vigil, caught between hope and grief. Researchers note subtle changes at the site, increasing electromagnetic anomalies, strange light phenomena, and visitors reporting vivid visions. Whatever gateway exists there is becoming more active as the alignment approaches. The mountain holds its secret, waiting for the celestial conditions that will once again open the path between our limited reality and whatever lies beyond. We stand at a crossroads between our technological civilization and spiritual awakening. The children's story represents the collision between ancient wisdom and modern science, both pointing toward the same incredible truth about human potential. Our obsession with external technological progress has caused us to neglect the inner evolution that might be our species' true destiny. The 2025 event may offer a chance to reconcile these paths, to become beings who master both matter and consciousness. But the choice requires surrendering our attachment to individual identity, the very thing modern society teaches us to cherish above all else. Can we embrace becoming something more than human? Or will we reject the invitation out of fear of losing what we are? The story of the Seoul school children isn't ending. It's approaching its climax. Their disappearance, transformation, and final message suggest we're not alone in the universe, because the universe itself is conscious, and we are its emerging self-awareness. The 2025 alignment may represent humanity's final exam. Will we evolve into cosmic consciousness, or remain planetary children afraid of the dark? The children went ahead to show us the way, paying the price of their ordinary humanity, so we might follow without paying the same cost. Their empty eyes held not vacancy, but the vastness of everything, an invitation to look beyond our limited perception and remember what we truly are. The question is no longer what happened to those 5 children, but what will happen to all of us when the gate opens.